Axel, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Just watching the darts, but I can tear myself away to ask these important questions to you. So we've got a new player coming to the club, Andres Cubas. You've got that over the line now. What is it about him that you've wanted to make him a white cap, and what do you feel he's going to do to make this team better?
I think it was a position of need, and it is exactly the profile we were looking for. We have identified him already December last year, and we he was top three on our list at any point throughout the whole process. He was top one on our list since I would say late January. Um, so the main ask we have for this profile is somebody who is very very good in tackles and holding off the attack of the opponent before they run on our defense line. Somebody who can, I would say, lead and guide our defense from a position ahead of our defense line. And in all of his stats, he is one of the guys that has the highest amount of tackles, successful tackles in all leagues he played. Also in the French League 1 a year ago when he was playing there in the first league. Then he has very good passing abilities. He is not the guy that will create threat, and that was what we were not looking for. We need somebody, I would say, that is the 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 guy that keeps the backs free for our guys that are very good in creating threat, like Ryan Gold, Peter Vita, and Diber, and those guys. So we were looking for somebody who can cover the ground behind them, that they are a little bit more free to play forward and use their skills in the game forward.
Vanny spoke, I think it was after the game on Saturday, about needing to stop letting players run 50 yards unchecked, which, but from what you've said, sounds like Kubis is going to be the guy that is going to fit that. What have you made of the team start to the season, especially kind of in regards with that midfield? Because although the defence has been playing well and that there's a little bit going in attack, it does feel that everything at the moment is kind of falling down both offensively and defensively in the middle of the park.
Yeah, we look at far more detailed into that. I think although and don't get me wrong, we are not trying to make something nicer than it is really is, but the X goals against us went down from last season, also for the time of the run that when he was coach. I said it in an interview, I think yesterday or 2 days ago. Right now, and that was a clear message also to the team for the next 2 weeks. We really have to wake up and we have to focus on the basics of the game, because what was really hurting us in the last two games, and obviously that's the last impression you have, because we played better games before that, was that we don't have really compete well. So I remind the team also that last year not everything was really good, and as I said, we allowed even more X goal against us. Not everything was really good, but we were a team that you couldn't break down. A team that was very strong in the basics of what we want to be. We want to be a team that nobody likes to play, a team that you cannot break down, a team that comes with a lot of effort and mentality and spirit and discipline. And we're lacking a little bit of that in the last two games for whatever reason. We also do a little bit too many individual mistakes, and we really get punished for every of them right now. But again, not Kubas for him alone, not only the signing of Kubas, not if we have more of our quality players on the pitch that we're also missing, and that's also actually hurting us, will change something if we are not getting back on track, being good on the things that always made us a successful team. And only if that now really turns around and we do better on that, then obviously having Ryan Gold full in shape and Brian White full in shape and Caillou at some point, and and having more players and more quality players ready and available and game ready will help us. But I don't want to use any of that as an excuse, and I don't want that the guys think Kubas will now be the savior of our whole game and season. We have a work that has to be done in these 2 weeks, and we have to show another face if we play against Toronto on Mother's Day.
Great, thanks Axel. I might jump on at the end depending on what else is asked.
Thank you, Michael. We'll go to Joshua Ray.
Hi, Axel. It is a 4-year deal for Andres Cubas. I just want to ask, why the 4-year deal?
As I said, we have really waited for him long, and we could fix the position earlier with just another signing, but we were really high on him. We think that he is the form of a difference maker on that position than Ryan Gold is on his position. So then he is also in an age, he was already in Europe, where he is very happy to come here and with his family to be in Vancouver and to play here an important role for many years. So it's not a player we sign with the expectation to sell him soon again, or to look for somebody who gives us more dollars than we pay now. He should be one of our main guys for several years to help us to grow as a team, a club in this league, and to win something.
And I know he's going to be dealing with visa issues and all that. So when do you have an estimate on when he'll be playing with the Whitecaps?
Yeah, I'm very careful about having estimates, and I'm very careful with being optimistic. I only can say that this case is a little bit different than the others because through his national team he had a visa in the US and he could apply for the visa in the US. We flew him in actually last week to the US and did also the medical there, and I met him there and we have done all the paperwork, and now we hope that has a little bit of a positive impact, and that he can be here sooner than the other guys have been.
Great, thanks, Axel.
Thank you, Joshua. We'll go to JJ Adams.
Thanks, Josh, for asking that question. It means I don't have to. You said that, Axel, that you guys identified him last December as a player that you guys wanted to bring in. I know Nikos was a big factor in this as well. What was it about that position and that profile that made you guys look for that last December as we go into this season, where it's obviously a very clear near, but I don't know if we thought it was as clear as it was in December?
For us, it was absolutely clear, because in the way we want to play and in the way we have played very successfully last year, we were very sure that is a position of need, and we need a more experienced and very high skilled player on that position. We have seen that it's in the way we play. Not every player feels comfortable. Janio, for example, had challenges to play in this way, and for that reason we have loaned him to Italy. So for us it was very clear we would have signed him already in December. The problem was that his club was at that point competing for not getting relegated or maybe still get promoted, and it wasn't possible to convince them to let the player go, and they have been in a very strong position because they still had a very long contract, and it wasn't like that they were in financial need. So it took also a long time to convince them to let him go within their season at a point where they cannot replace him anymore. So that's all set. For us it was a position of need. We had another profile we have been very, very high on, and there was also some speculation about that, where we couldn't find a solution because of special rules and situations in the league. Another club had an advantage there. So at that point we were only focused on him, and we were working on that because we knew already that it will be difficult to get him in early. So said that again. We wanted to fix it in December or January. But we also wanted to fix it with a player where we are 100% convinced that he is not just a little bit of a better fit, that he is a player who can make a difference also in mid and long term for this club.
Once you initially contacted him, I'm just wondering what the process was like, and how did you sell him on the project here in Vancouver, and just from December until now, if you could break it down for us, that'd be great.
Yeah, the bigger challenge was really with his club. I think we also had to be careful because there are also FIFA protocols, and you cannot just contact a player who is still under contract with another club for a long time. So we first needed to be in a position that the club even allowed us to contact the player officially and to speak with him. I think from the first conversation on that Vanny and I had it with him directly, for him it was no question that he wants to be here. He likes the league. He thinks it's a better place for his family to be at. It's easier to stay connected with his family in Argentina. It's his national team coach is absolutely okay and happy with him playing in MLS, and for him to keep his spot in the national team. That also was a point for him, obviously, that his national team coach thinks that's the right league for him to play and to compete, to keep his spot in the national team. That was all positive. It was really, really complicated to explain the owner, of the president of the club, and the sporting director that we want to have him as soon as possible. And so I went to France once to meet with all of them and to make very clear that our window closes at a certain point and that it only goes up in July again, and that we maybe cannot wait for that. And from then it was still very slow development. I think the one thing that maybe helped us, that the club ended up now to be in a position where I think to the goods and to the bads, nothing can happen to them anymore in this league. But yeah, again, it was a waiting game for the right guy. We are up to wait, and now we have to get him in and to show everyone that he is the right guy.
Thanks, Axel. I think someone else must ask you a question.
Thank you, JJ. We'll go to Tom Rogan.
Nice to settle, JJ. Thanks, Axel, for taking the time. Congrats on getting the signing over the line. I guess, you've kind of touched on it already in kind of ways that this team needs to improve. But, I guess with Kubas coming, what is the path for this team to make improvements, and not to look too far forward, but now that you have this DP in, what's next for this team? Or is the idea to kind of focus on the summer if more reinforcements are coming?
Yeah, I would really love to have him in. Now everyone is frozen, including me.
No, you're fine.
No, I'm fine. Okay, on my screen everyone was frozen. Sorry. So now I would love to have him in now already. So we have to wait until he is really here. I think the one thing we have to do in the short term, we have to find a solution that we have more players ready and available for the games, because again, we don't use that as an excuse. And I told the team, I was in the locker room last Sunday and told the team that we have really to work hard in the next 2 weeks to show another face against Toronto. But in reality, also every team in the league would struggle if your DP and two of the U22 initiative players are missing. A Canadian international with Gutierrez was missing. Leo Wuso, nobody's really speaking about him, but he was playing 15 of the 17 games in the second half of last season when we have been that successful and being the second best team in the Western Conference. So obviously that hurts. All of that hurts us, and that's something we can fix and should fix in short term before Kubas even arrives. And then if Kubas arrives and every other player is available, then I think we really have to think careful what else it needs. I think other than if a player leaves us, it will be not easy to bring in another player who is a starter for this team. But again, if you have all players available, you will also figure out that a few players that expect from themselves that they will start in every game will not start, and that maybe leads to a discussion that the player wants to leave in summer, and that opens up another spot where we can find a player maybe who has the better profile for the way we want to play. You're welcome.
Thank you, Tom. We'll go to Har.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Still morning. Axel, regarding the visa issue process, are we talking months or weeks for Kubis? Do you have any specific idea as to when he will be sorted with that regard?
I think whatever I answer you now, Har, could be completely wrong. The only thing I can say that he has an appointment already for his biometrics tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, yes. What is something positive, because the other guys have not received the invite to the biometrics within the first 4 weeks of the process. So is that now good, and will it really help at the end of the process? I don't know. I try to remain optimistic without totally freaking out because I don't want to be too frustrated later. So the good thing is that there is movement in this process, and let's hope and that is a good sign.
What about other areas to improve the club before the transfer window shuts next week? Could we see some more players coming in? Could we see even a player off the roster moving out? Can you tell us maybe what you've got cooking over there?
I'm not a very good cook, so I'm happy that other guys are doing that. But I'm good at barbecues. We can speak about that as soon the weather becomes better here. We are cooking. We are looking at options. You know that we sit on a good amount of allocation money, and we are in chats. A lot of the things heat a little bit more up now as we are coming closer to the window. There are a few clubs that want to change something, things that haven't worked out at their clubs that have needs. We obviously are open to think about where we can improve the depth of our squad. Again, if we would have everyone available, you know that we spoke in the off season so often that Kayo is like a new signing for us. And unfortunately, again, he couldn't play a minute yet. So that's we all also keep in mind and look at that very carefully when those players will be already and will arrive back to the pitch. But yes, we are open. We have allocation money. We are in talks with a lot of MLS clubs. But I will not say here that we definitely will do something. But I would also say the likelihood that something else happens is higher than the other way around.
You mentioned all the money the Whitecaps have piled up. Would you guys want to move that out, or would it be a rostered player? What kind of situation is that looking like? Because you have a lot of players. You need to clear spots if you bring someone in.
Yeah, and yes, there are a lot of teams now that also look for some solutions, and we have a overload on certain positions, and we maybe have not the depth on other positions. So everyone can imagine what that is, what I mean. So we are working on that. We also have discussed how we move forward and how do we play in the next games. I cannot speak about that because that's our black box, and I cannot now tell our future opponents what we are planning here to do, but that maybe also has an impact of maybe a certain different need. Again, we are really open, but we are also, if we would have all our players available and Kubas comes in soon, and we hopefully know more about that already beginning next week. As I said before, we also first have to get them all onto the pitch, because if everyone is fit, everyone is ready, then we have a few positions where we have maybe even too many players that all expect to start, and that can also create problems. So yeah, maybe we want to balance the squad a little bit more, but we don't feel bad about our squad in general. We feel we are very unhappy with the results, and we're really unhappy with the availability of our players right now.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Thank you, Hara.
Thanks, Har. And we'll wrap up with a couple more from Michael McCall.
Hey Axel, just two more for you. How concerned are you just now by the start of the season? 8 points back of the playoff line. I know last year the team did go on that good run. Can't guarantee that to be replicated. So how concerned are you with these 3 home games coming up? They seem to loom massive, because you could really be cut adrift by the end of May if you don't start to turn things around.
Yeah, but it's not my way of thinking to be concerned about something that comes up. I'm more concerned about things that we actually have to deal with, but not with games that are coming up. I see every game as a chance. I told the team that we get another big chance in front of a good crowd with high broadcast ratings, probably on Mother's Day, to show another face and to continue where we ended last season, and also what we did already in a few home games. I think that our home games overall have been okay. I think that against NYFC we got a okay point. We played a good game against Kansas, and we have been unlucky against Portland. We have to continue on that. We have to find ways how we are more ready on the road as well. That's also a thing we discussed. We had a lot of those games yet, and we haven't looked in that way good. But there's time to work on this. The good thing is, and another reason why I'm not concerned, we have 2 weeks to prepare that. It gives us time to work on things, to get players ready, and to take the chance to start the season again with a bunch of home games, and then being in a better situation the next time we go on the road, and hopefully then already with Kubas.
And just last thing, completely different topic. What have you made to the start of the season from WFC2, and how important are these short-term loan deals for the club in getting a chance to look at some players, just to see if you maybe want to offer them an MLS deal? Because the guys so far, like Ali Ahmed and Emiliano Brienza, seem to have really taken that opportunity when you've given it to them.
And thank you, that's a great question, and I almost forgot to speak about that, because sometimes we are really hard on ourselves, and believe me, and every of our supporters can believe me, we are sitting here every day from early morning to late afternoon and discuss our problems and how we can solve them, how we can become better, what we can do, how we can support players. We really work hard on that, and it's still the same team than last year that played very well with very few changes, and I don't accept that the changes are the reason for the results right now. But there is not only negative things in this season so far. We have not played every game. Not every of our games have been disaster. And there are other things we are working on since I'm in this club, and I'm speaking about since I'm in the club, that are developing finally in the right direction. We had 2 challenging years, and we spoke so often about the need for all the talent that we have and all the young players we think that are not missing a lot to play in MLS. The need of having a real meaningful competition platform, and MLS Next Pro is that, and I enjoy it a lot to see those games, to see that they play the style and the way we want to see our teams playing, very intense, getting the results. And I would say with all the negative things that we saw in Austin, there were also a few positive things, and one definitely was Ali Ahmed and his performance, a young guy that gets the first minutes in MLS. And he would never play there, and he would never get the minutes there in a very important moment for the team if we would not have the MLS Next Pro platform, and the guys would have played there. And for that reason, we also said there are not only 4 home games in a row, there are 5, because on next Saturday our MLS Next Pro team plays here against San Jose, and a good number of players from the first team will support the team and play there, and all the other players of the squad will be in the stadium and sit in the stands, and it's also a very good moment for our supporters and kids, and also you, if you're there, to connect with our players. They will be all there and available, and we will support this team. We will support our guys from the first team that play there. And I think we are doing a great job in keeping those 2 teams so closely connected. And it's also one reason why players can switch so easily from one team to the other. And then if they succeed, that's one of the wonderful stories that we had in this season so far.
Yeah, totally agree. They're playing lovely football. We'd encourage everyone to get out and support the guys. Thanks so much, Axel.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Michael, and thank you, everyone. If you have any other requests, please contact the communications department.